This morning on Loveworld Plus.
Yes, so welcome to This Morning. What an unorthodox way to start the show. Well, that's it. That's a way to start this morning. It's the 1st of November. Wow, wow. Welcome to another month. My name is Henry Williams.
My name is Thomas Book Jr. I'm a journalist.
Listen, I'm sorry I'm late, but I had the craziest dream last night.
I haven't gotten my interview with IDAHOSA, that preacher, who I assume had something to do with that miracle at the hospital.
I have nothing. Really well. The wild woman, you so now, the case down there, who was over? No one is bad with you. Who was over? The guy down there, the dummy hosa.
No more questions. You want to meet Benson Dausa, Abi? Of course. Hey, now, you will meet Benson Dausa. Eh? Don't worry. It's almost time for our midweek service. And hello, Iye. Right? Iye.
Thank you. You are?
Joy.
IDAHOSA.
You need to be born again. I am out to go.
I need my story.
I commit your son, Thomas, into your hands.
I need my story.
God, I seek, I ask, and right now I'm knocking on your door.
Look, this is it. If I don't get my story today, this whole trip will be in vain.
Not when I am here. Stop it in Thousand Thomas. Eh? Welcome to this side.
It's 3 p.m. and we're back at house number 2. And I'm still wondering why IDAHOSA builds houses in the slums.
You mean what you say that we can use that person?
But this is the IDAHOSA home.
Dausa. No.
No problem. Yeah, there's a problem.
Where's Thomas? Hey, Holy Ghost.
Where's Thomas?
Which kind of wild abuse now?
You're right. But you need to be more careful. Even the Jesus you keep talking about was careful when he was alive.
I just wish I could do something about it.
You can pray for him.
Child, I have instructions from my pastor to come and wake you. Wake up!
Would you like to say the sinner's prayer and give yourself to Christ?
I don't know what you'll do or how you'll do it, but I just need a miracle. It's beginning to come together.
I mean what you say that we can raise that person.
Yes?
Have you raised that person before?
No.
Why? But you say I can do it.
Yes. In the name of Jesus.
Oh, that engaging clip you just watched was a trailer for IDAHOSA Trails. Now, the story is about the coincidental experience of an American journalist who's called Thomas Book. We'll get to meet him much later, who seeks to interview a reputable preacher who is IDAHOSA based on his perception of IDAHOSA's role in the miraculous recovery of a popular chief in Benin City whose recovery happened spontaneously after 6 years in a coma. Now it goes on and on. And we'll be talking more about IDAHOSA Trails on the show right now, and I have two good men. The director, who is Stanlee Ohikhuare. I hope I got that right. and lead actor David Shifter. You saw him there in that trailer, the white guy, that, was, attracting the Onyibo, that was attracting all the, the action. Well, great to have you join us on the show. Stanlee, great pleasure to have you.
Good morning.
The IDAHOSA trails, as some would say, it's been far coming. Better, but better late than never. IDAHOSA is a legendary, personality, someone that we cannot write the history of Pentecostalism in Nigeria without mentioning that name, someone we adore, and we, every time his name always triggers good memories when it comes to Christianity. And Shifter, nice production you guys did there. Really interesting, captivating appetizer, seeing the role that you played. But let me start with the man behind the scenes, Stanlee.
Yeah.
Tell us more about yourself, please.
I'm a trained artist and a filmmaker.
Okay.
Well, everything about my filmmaking.
Where are you coming from here?
Well, yeah, I'm a trained fine artist. I studied painting in university and left school, got into graphic design, animation, and all that. And everything I got interested in, I just pursued by myself. The way it is, I didn't go to any film school, so
wow,
I'm actually a self-taught filmmaker.
You're self-taught.
Yeah,
self-taught.
everything I do today is self-taught.
And I believe that has a lot to do with this, do with your faith,
Yeah, definitely. Like David, even for the short time we've known, if there's one thing he knows, the fact that once I say I want to do something, I do it.
I'll talk about how you guys, your paths crossed here, but what provoked this movie?
Yeah, the movie, I actually knew right from time that it would be nice to have a movie about IDAHOSA done, and I was wondering why no one had done it. And I also wasn't pursuing it fervently till one Sunday I was in church, and the pastor was saying, it's very important that we preserve the legacy of good men and people who have done very remarkable things. And that if we don't preserve those legacies, and they're just going to wither out and fade away. And he said, for instance, a generation might come very soon to whom you mention the name IDAHOSA, and they'll say, who was that? And it just sounded awkward to me, and I said, God forbid.
Wow.
And because he said it, and I paint pictures in my head, and I painted the reality of that statement. And then when I left church, I was asking some teenagers, like 15, 16, 17, oh, do you know IDAHOSA? Like, IDAHOSA. And I realized that even in my own church, even some of our own kids didn't know about Benson IDAHOSA. They knew about the church, they knew where they worship, but they didn't really have any detailed knowledge about the beginning, where everything started, the person who started the whole thing. And I think his life encapsulates a lot that people can learn from. There's a lot you can learn from him. For me, the number one thing is his doggedness. Someone who has faith, and as long as the Word of God says it, he doesn't go to double check. And like I told them in Benin,
he doesn't go to double check.
Yeah, like I told them in Benin when we went to premiere them, I said, one thing nobody has really thought of seriously was the fact that when the Archbishop Benson IDAHOSA raised the first dead person called Inuata, he was not a pastor. He was a church boy. He was a boy in church who heard his pastor preaching about something, and he went out to try it out. So when people think about the fact that, oh, he raised someone from the dead, everybody has this picture of, oh, the Archbishop IDAHOSA. No, he was not even pastor. He was just one brother called Brother Benson who heard what his pastor was saying, took his bicycle, went out in town looking for dead people to raise up, and he found one, and he raised the person up.
I don't know if you've answered the question already, but what do you want to achieve with this movie?
What I want to achieve is very clear. I've said it so many times. The movie is meant to instill faith in a faithless world. That's very simple.
That is acceptable to us any day.
Yeah.
Let me turn to this gentleman beside me here who comes from New York and who says he doesn't live there. He lives in North Carolina?
I've lived all over the United States.
Okay.
I'm from New York City.
Okay, New York City.
Manhattan.
Okay. The Big Apple, right?
The Big Apple. I live in a town called Carolina Beach, North Carolina right now.
Okay.
It's right outside of Wilmington on the coast of North Carolina. And as I was joking earlier, if you look really, really with good binoculars, you can see the coast of Africa.
Now let me just give you a brief into who David Shifter really is, where he's coming from. You've won an Emmy Award, right?
I was a television news reporter for a good 15 years.
CNBC,
I worked for
CNN.
CNBC. I did work for CNN. I was a contract reporter for them.
Okay.
I worked at stations in New York, in California, in Ohio, those states, and in North Carolina. And one day I said, I want to be an actor.
Just like that.
And my boss said, well, you can't work here then, in TV news. So off I went home, told my wife I wanted to be an actor, and she said, I didn't marry an actor. So that was the beginning of the end of that.
Okay.
And, but I stuck with it and became an actor, and I never looked back. I miss, on the big news days, I do miss reporting.
All right.
But I was an investigative reporter, so that was the detailed reporting. That was the good stuff. And I do have an Emmy for investigative reporting. I do have 3 nominations total.
Why did you choose this project?
Well, at first, when I saw the character breakdown for an American who comes to Nigeria, you know, I applied for it like I apply for dozens of roles. And I was contacted a couple of weeks later. Stanlee contacted me and said he wanted an audition.
All right.
So fine, he sent me a piece of the script. I auditioned on video. I sent the video to him electronically.
Okay.
A couple weeks passed by. He contacts me again and says, I want to see more. So you wanted to see more. I sent you more. And subsequently, we Skyped a few times.
Interesting.
We negotiated. At first, you know, I didn't know who Archbishop Benson Idahosa was. In America, very few people, unfortunately, know who he was. So for me, it was going to be another job. It was an interesting role, but it was going to be another role. Not until I had feet on the ground in Nigeria did I realize what I got into. How big, and I say that endearingly, Stanlee, how important a role that I actually had, and how important a project this was going to be.
So what did that do to you? I mean, that reality, you know?
I said, you better step up the game, Shifter.
So you knew you had to put on your best foot forward, right?
And listen, I always do my best. This is my career. It's not a game for me. Okay. This is I don't earn a living if I'm not working as an actor. And I knew that this was so important, and that it was going to be something that people were going to be very critical of. Now, my role is a fictional character, but I'm part of a huge story. Benson Idahosa is such an important figure in Nigerian history. Everybody knows him, and the more I talked to people, the more people said, you know, talk to me about it, the more I realized that this is very serious, and that we had to do something that was very, very honorable. And I went into Margaret Benson Idahosa's office, the Archbishop's wife, and I was a little bit nervous. You know, did we do a good job, ma'am? I was a little concerned.
What'd she say?
She said, yes, you did.
Wow.
And she had great regard for Charles, who plays her husband in the movie. It's uncanny.
Stanlee, you know, he mentioned that there is the concern that, am I going to do a good job? Because this is just not an ordinary personality. This is the key that will I represent? Will I really, you know, give a true representation of what this man felt? Will this touch, you know, the nerve when people watch it? And you got that reaction, right?
Yeah. It's been 8 years in the making.
8 years?
8 years, yeah. One of the first things we did when we started this project was, I know I went out looking for the people whose stories had been recounted in the books. Fire in His Bones, If Your Faith Says Yes, God Will Not Say No, God's Battle Axe. So I had all the books by Archbishop Benson Idahosa, and I read through them. So since the core focus of the movie was going to be on faith, I excluded all the battles he fought and all that, and all the restrictions and everything, and the people he had to contend with. And I focused on the stories that had to do with the things he did purely by faith, in the Word of God.
That you had to sift through a lot of stories.
Yes. So I selected
that
the
lived
first,
like 5 lifetimes.
Exactly. So I picked the story of the first person he raised from the dead in Inuata, the guy in the Kenyan crusade who didn't have eyes, and they brought him there. And the mother just believed that his son was going to have eyes. And really, to everybody's amazement, the 2 eyes popped out.
and the guy is still alive. And the direction we took was that we said, you know what, if we can't find the people in the stories we want to reenact, the real people, then we will not reenact those stories. Because I needed to be sure that when people see
credibility,
yes, when people say that's it. Because like I said, it's a movie that's meant to instill faith in a faithless world. It's a very faithless world we're living right now. So I needed to be sure that when someone says, oh, that Maisha is true, I'll say, oh, that's the guy, that's his contact. You can call him and confirm yourself. Yeah, so we chose the story of Joy Akbarero, who fell from a story building and her skull opened and everything, and he prayed for her and she came back to life. So all the people whose stories were reenacted, we had to find them one by one. And even finding the first person he raised from death, you know what, it took me almost 4 years.
Wow.
And the day I finally found her, I was kind of frustrated. I was with Archbishop Margaret IDAHOSA. We were at the table having lunch after the convention with some delegates from the US. And I said, Mama, you see this movie I want to shoot? I don't think I'll shoot it if I don't have some people. Like, you know what? She said, Iyo Gogo. When she said Iyo Gogo, I knew this person has to be alive. Because I'd gone around Benin, I'd gone to church, I'd gone to the IDAHOSA World Outreach to look through the tapes and the messages to see whether there's any record of the person. And in a couple of hours, she was brought to the IDAHOSA residence. And I said, oh, it's about 11 p.m. Now I have to get this interview today because I don't want to wait for tomorrow. You know, I'm not being pessimistic, but I just told myself, I don't want to wake up tomorrow.
You just couldn't wait.
Yeah, I don't want to wake up tomorrow and they say the woman died yesterday.
All right, all right. You made us really appreciate all the work you put into all of this. Now, let's talk about the premiere now. What you were talking about premieres have been done, and once it's still done.
Yeah, so we had the world premiere in Benin last week on Friday. So that was the first time everybody was seeing it, apart from the private screening for Mama IDAHOSA. So we went back to Benin, and we specifically chose to do it in Benin. So we took it back to Faith Arena, that's the headquarters where Papa spent all his life preaching and doing the work of God. We could have gone to a cinema or anywhere, but we just specified. It wasn't the most convenient place to have a movie premiere, you know, picture, sound, everything. But we tweaked everything, and I think we got away with it. And then the atmosphere was charged. And we had done something while we were shooting. We finished shooting a scene not far from church, and Charles Okafor, we came to church with him dressed as Papa, and the evening service was going on. And I don't know how to describe what happened next.
Who's that guy that looks like Papa?
Charles Okafor.
Wow, what a striking resemblance. I mean, he must be a double. He must be a clone. I said, you know, I had to replay, you know, the trailer over and over again.
And the funny thing is that during the world premiere,
we can see him on the screen.
Yeah, that's him there.
This is alarming.
A lot of people didn't know it wasn't Papa.
This is alarming, honestly, because is it technology? Because is it photoshopping? Because I was
it's just makeup. A friend of mine in Benin, her name is Odion. She has a makeup firm, Coletta Brown. So she did the makeup and everything. Charles Okafor, I saw him. He had the facial structure, the smile, everything, the body size. So we knew Charles Okafor doesn't have hair, so we have to give him hair. And a little bit sideburns, little bits, because we knew everywhere Papa had hair and the hairline and everything. So we mapped it out. And well, you see the making of the movie and how everything happened. But the remarkable thing that happened during the world premiere was that, like 20 minutes to the end of the whole movie, we took Charles Okafor out, took him backstage, and then the makeup artist made him up again. And then while we were introducing all the actors, he walked from behind, and Mama was like, she was screaming, she was happy, she was laughing, and she hugged him, and it was such an emotional
I had no idea that we were going to do that. So I see him come in, I did this double take, because that was the first time I met him. I didn't meet him during the production of the movie.
Yeah.
Yet, and then he walks out in full regala. Amazing.
Amazing. So what's the next premiere?
So the next thing we're doing now, we're having a premiere tomorrow in Lagos, a pre-release premiere at Genesis Deluxe Cinema, the VIP screen. Yeah, at the Palms, Lekki.
The Palms, Lekki.
Yes, so that's majorly to avail critics and people who do movie reviews and journalists and reporters, majorly people in the media, and a couple of people in the industry to come around and have a specialized viewing of the movie so that we can get more feedback. We've gotten feedback so far,
that is
and
key.
the feedback has been good.
Has been good,
but we
right.
want to get more feedback because we're not going to end here. This is not a biopic. So this IDAHOSA Trail is the story of Thomas' book, Trailing IDAHOSA.
Okay.
But there is something in the pipeline for a full biopic on Archbishop Benson IDAHOSA.
That would be well expected. I mean, we're looking forward to that. I mean, this is just whetting our appetite. I mean, I said, you know, someone like IDAHOSA. I mean, there should be a series of, you know, stories.
Yeah, because the things he's done, they're like countless. Like everywhere you turn to, you hear something else.
Well, Shifter.
Yes.
Shifter.
David Shifter.
David. You know, what's the Nigerian experience? What's this experience? You know, what are you taking with you now?
I'll tell you, when I was flying over here, it's an overnight red-eye flight. The first time back in June, it wasn't until I woke up from the flight and we were maybe an hour out of Lagos that I looked out the window and I realized, oh my, I'm coming to Africa. It was that unbelievable to me. Now, I've been working as an actor for about 18, 19, 20 years, but I have never, you know, worked overseas, all over the United States, sure. When I came here, it was almost dreamlike. You know, we met first I was picked up from the airport. We met and we got right into it. And he keeps me on a short leash. From the hotel to the set that we were filming, back to the hotel, back to the set. I didn't see much of Nigeria, so but I can tell you all about the places we filmed.
Okay.
The people have been beautiful, wonderful. Open their hearts to me and have reached out, and I encourage you to reach out. I'm available on Twitter with the @DavidShifter, and it's SCHIFTER.
Okay, we'll find you. But has this made a believer out of you?
Yeah, because you know what's amazing? I'm a Christian.
Okay.
I am a believer.
Okay, beautiful.
But
beautiful.
You know, the stories of Jesus are 2,000 years old. And a lot, unfortunately, gets lost into time. But the stories...
This has brought Jesus closer to the reality of Jesus.
Absolutely. The stories of Benson IDAHOSA are recent history, and they're our lifetimes. And it's remarkable, and it's almost hard to believe. But you do believe, you know, because the stories are so recent. You have met people who are actually affected. My character, Thomas Book, in this movie, IDAHOSA Trails, meets people who are, you know, actually affected by, and my character is affected by the works of IDAHOSA.
Well, there's so much to talk about, but really we can't, you know, cram it all up in just this session. It's been a great pleasure talking to this extraordinary gentleman who embarked on this project to furthermore immortalize a man who's legendary, you know, in everything that he has done, remarkably in the Pentecostal realm, Christian realm. Papa Benson IDAHOSA is a man that we definitely, you know, thank God who sent him to Nigeria, to Africa, to touch our lives. And this project, the IDAHOSA Trails, is one that we really love to see. I'm sure there's the premiere tomorrow will be an eye-opener for a lot of people, and we're looking forward to more projects like that.
Friday it hits the cinemas.
Friday hits the cinema, so you will be able to go to any cinema to watch IDAHOSA Trails. You really need to watch this movie. It's not like any other movie.
And you know, there's something remarkable. This is actually the first time a faith-based movie by a Nigerian is shown in any Nigerian cinema. First time ever.
It's an important story.
So
all right, that's another landmark, okay, for Christendom. Okay, good movie, wholesome movie. This is the kind of movies. We need more movies like this from Christendom. We need to change the world. We need to tell our story. We need to let people know that the power of the Lord Jesus Christ is still at work, and it can't, be reenacted. I want to thank Stanlee Ohikhuare for joining us. He's the director of the movie. It's been a great pleasure. Brilliant mind, a beautiful mind you're looking at, and I want to thank you for, you know, answering that call, because, you know, this is a big project you embarked on, you know, not being, you know, afraid of all the challenges that might have come your way. 8 years it took you to put this together. And also thanking
David
David for
You'll know
coming
my
down
name.
to Nigeria. Okay.
I'll be back.
Very pleasant personality. He too went through a lot, you know, to be here in Nigeria for this project, and it's great to have you, you know, with us here, David.
Thank you.
Look forward to seeing you some other time, and we'll look out for you on social media.
Appreciate it, Henry.
See what you're doing, and that's apparently all we can take on the show for now.